end of the world, because that was just kind of an overview of a bunch of lessons, and now we get into the actual lessons. So anything we would have covered yesterday, I'm sure we will hit again. All right, quiz time. Let's take a look. Quiz grades are still not where they need to be. There were 300s, which is very good, but there were lots of 50s. That's not good. If you got a 75, we're getting to good. So let's go through and check it out. Number one, write a recursively defined sequence where the first term is 7. So therefore, it cannot be choices 1 or 3, because the first term is 7. The common difference is 5. That means you're going up by 5s. So clearly that has to be choice 2. In choice 4, that 5 in front of the parentheses suggests that you are having a common ratio of 5. You're multiplying by 5. Any questions on number 1? Okay. Number 2. We started doing these yesterday I don't want to say a different way, it's the same way, but we started to show the data in a different way. We started working with the table here. So here's the rule. F of 0 is 4. So that means for the 0th term, the answer is 4. Now, here's the rule, and a couple of people are misunderstanding this rule. Everybody stop writing. Look up. The new function output, the new term, is -3 times the previous term, not -3 times n. When I looked in your tables, I saw a number of people put -3 times 0. Look at your paper. Are you one of those? Or I saw -3 times 1. Are you one of those? That's wrong. It's the new one is -3 times the previous one. See, n always comes before n plus 1. And then I add 3 at the end. So here's -3 times the previous one's output. What was the output to the previous one? It was 4. So it's -3 times 4 plus 3. And you work that out, you get -9. Then this again, the new one is -3 times the previous one. What was the previous one? The output we always mean, -9. So -3 times -9 is 27. 27 plus 3 is 30. So 30 is the correct answer. Now we get to the same exact idea on this guy. And these are the two that people were missing for the most part. 2 and 3, yes?
But it says n minus 1. So I thought...
This does, n minus 1, n plus 1 doesn't make a difference. N minus 1 is the previous one to n.
So when you subtract...
You're not subtracting. You're saying which term.
So what's the difference between... Why does that one look different from the top one?
Well, because the top one, instead of saying n and n minus 1, says n plus 1 and n. What you need to remember is this. Look, if I list out the numbers, blah, 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 and I put an n there. What's the one before the n? N minus 1. What's the one after the n? N plus 1. So don't look at this. When we're dealing with sequence context, do not look at this as an n plus 1 that we would use in an algebraic context.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at that one. I was looking at the one underneath.
Then don't look at this n as an algebraic context. Okay. Look at it as the new term, f of n, the output to the new term, is 2 times the output of the previous term. Because n minus 1 is before n in the same exact way that n is before n plus 1.
Okay, so you don't subtract?
Nope. Okay. All right, so now, the first term, f of 1, the first term's output is 4. There's my 4. Now I list the terms, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now I plug in the 4. This says to do 2 times the previous plus 7. So 2 times 4 is 8 plus 7 is 15. 2 times the previous, 2 times 15 plus 7 is 37. 2 times the previous, 2 times 37 plus 7 is 81. 2 times the previous, 2 times 81 plus 7 is 169. Okay? And I saw a lot of people doing this right, and for some reason, they made like little mental mistakes. I'm going, you're doing all the hard stuff right, and the easy stuff they made little mistakes on. I think one person did 2 times 4 plus 7 is 13.
Hey, how you doing?
2 people did that. Nice. What a shame to have such a really challenging concept and you know it, and you do 2 times 8 plus 7 is 13. Okay, next one here. For which value of P and W is P plus W irrational? It has to be choice 2 because the only one up here that you can't figure out is the square root of 7. Okay? Any questions? Now listen, I got to ask. How many of you guys went home last night and truly studied your quiz? If you did that, and you did not go up, well, if you didn't go up, there are 2 possibilities. First possibility is you didn't work. The second possibility is that you didn't understand when you did work. And I congratulate you for working. That's the most important thing. But hopefully now you have a better, more clear understanding of exactly what's expected. Okay? Any questions? All right. Let's go to last night's homework, the first page. Okay. Any questions on A and B? These should be routine. A and B should be gifts. You should look at them like, give me more. Make the whole test like this. This is so easy. Any questions on A and B? If for any reason on God's green earth you are not rocking A and B, you need to get that down pat. Right? This is critical stuff. Super, super, super important. Now, this histogram question is what we were going to talk more about yesterday, but in all honesty, it is pretty easy. All right? Now, it's true, old people die, because look, how many old people do you have left? Not too many. So, what else are you going to conclude? All right, and most of the people are in here. You could say most people are around the same age until you hit whatever this is. I can't read that. Whatever this age number is, then they start croaking at a faster rate. What's that? 65, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they start kicking the bucket. You know, city morgue, you stab them, we slab them. That kind of thing. All right. All right. Well, we used to prank phone call when we were kids, and we would say some pretty terrible things. Oh, yeah, we would. I won't tell you the really bad ones, but we would, like, call people up when we were in 5th grade and go, "Hey, your refrigerator running? Better go catch it!" We were some pretty geeky, sad, so sad. We had a lot of other ones, but I can't tell you those because I would get in trouble if I told you those. So, yes, oh my is right. Let's just say I've become a much more cultured man in my old age.
Aiden McBride, and he got really confused.
Aiden McBride got really confused. Isn't that just happen all the time? All right. Why might you want to study this data? This is a really important thing, Social Security. One of the things that gets me very, very, very upset is when our government starts talking about Social Security as an entitlement. I don't know if you realize it or not, but each year, your parents, and eventually when you begin to work, they will take up to about $7,500 out of your paycheck during the course of the year, depending on how much you make. And they will put it in a bank account. Now, they said when they started this is called Social Security or FICA, they said they were doing it so that you would have money for your retirement. Except our government is very deceitful, and you need to learn that right away. Back when Social Security was started under Franklin Roosevelt, who everybody thinks is this great president, and I strongly disagree. Franklin Roosevelt, here's a great example of how deceitful he could be. They started Social Security under him because they didn't want people to have no money when they got older, which sounds like a great idea, right?
Yeah.
So they started collecting money out of your paycheck. Nowadays, it's up to $7,500 for the first $120,000 or so that you make during the course of a year. Well, what they don't tell you is that at that point in time, you could not collect Social Security until I think you were 67 years old. It might have been 66, but I think it was 67.
If you were single working mother.
Wait, there were none back then. Now, do you know what the average life expectancy was back then?
60 years old.
67. So in other words, they said they would take money out of every one of your paychecks for your entire working career, and then when you were expected to die, they would give it back to you. How bad is that? That basically, it's a tax, and they're taking your money. So now the government said, this is what they said they would do with Social Security. They said they would save your money for you. They said it's your money. We're not going to touch it. It's your money. And then they couldn't keep their greedy, grubby little paws off of it, and they started using it in the general fund. So now, all of the money I've ever put in Social Security in my entire life, and I started working when I was 12 years old, and my first paycheck, I expected it to be for something like $14 or $15. And I got the check, and it was for like, I don't know, $10 and something cents. And I looked at the person who gave me the check, and I said, what is this? It's supposed to be like 15 bucks or whatever it was supposed to be. And he goes, oh no, you got FICA. You have federal income tax. I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, we take the taxes out before we give you the money. So when I was 12 years old, they started taking money out of my paycheck. And every paycheck I get, all of my life, unless I make more than $120,000 in a year, they take out like $300 or $400. They take out a lot of money. And I don't get to see that money until I turn 62 and a half. Then I'm allowed to start getting it back again. So the government takes that money all along, and they only give it back to you when you turn 62 and a half years old. And now the government's saying, well, that's an entitlement. We have to cut the amount of money we're going to give you. I'm like, man, you've been taking this money from me since I'm 12, and now you don't want to give it back? You got to be kidding me. This is not an entitlement. An entitlement is somebody who did not work and gets money. This is someone who did work, and they took the money. So I get very, very, very upset by that. Now, this is the reason that they worry about Social Security. Nowadays, older people are living longer. See, you start collecting Social Security at about age 62, which is, I guess, somewhere around here. Where's 62? Stop me.
Oh, stop.
Right here? Okay. So if you look up, isn't this basically, say, around a third of the people? Now, nobody over to here works yet. So all these people in the middle get money taken out of their paycheck that goes to all of these older people at the end. And if you don't have enough working people making enough working money in the middle here, then these people don't get their Social Security. And if these people don't get their Social Security, they have been lied to. And they are justifiably and completely correct in being very upset. So, anyway, that's the story behind Social Security. All right, here's next two columns, or next two sections. Bless you. Any questions? Okay, next page. Did he say yes? I'm sorry, Spencer, what question?
Spencer, all of a sudden.
Who said it?
Okay.
AJ, sorry.
So, for number 3, shouldn't it be negative 0.4?
Yes, it should be negative. That might be a negative there. That little smudge point right there. All right, because I did put the negatives over here, so I suspect that's a negative. All right. Over here, domain range. Absolute value always has a V. A little bit of algebra review there. And then a popular question to go over today, and I was very proud of Carissa for knowing this, was number 7. This is a quadratic regression. Carissa, can you tell everybody what you told me about how you knew that this morning?
Because the second difference is.
That's right. The second difference is 2 for every term. If the second difference is a constant, then it's a quadratic regression. Now, there are 2 ways to figure out that this is day 10. One way to figure out that this is day 10 is to just keep the pattern going, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if it goes 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, then 15, then 17, then 19, on the 10th day you get to 101. The other way to do it, and unfortunately you get a little bit of an ugly number here in your calculator, but it still works. you go to on your calculator, you go to Stat Edit, and then you put in the two lists. Now, you should recognize that this is a quadratic regression. So then you go to Stat Calc, quadratic regression. It gives you the formula, A, B, and C. Then you type y equals, and you put the formula in. Then you go to Table, and if you go to the table, on the 10th day, the output is 101. So it takes 10 days. Okay? That table trick and the absolute and exponential, linear, and absolute value regressions are very, very powerful. All right, and here's the last one. I set up a formula for finding the explicit value. So f of n is 2 times n minus 1 plus 10, because it says here that you double it and add 10. Then I want to clean the formula up a little bit, so I distributed it, and it simplifies to 2n plus 8. And then when it simplifies to 2n plus 8, now I want to know what comes out in an hour. And an hour is 60 minutes. So I subtract the 8, divide by the 2, and I come up with 26. Now, each n, it says in the problem, is a 2-week interval. So 26 times 2 is 52 weeks, and 52 weeks is also known as a year, in case you wanted to do that. Okay. And then the ball bouncing problem is over here. It's 10 times 0.8 to the n minus 1, and 4.1 is what it works out. All right. Any questions? All right. So, nice homework last night. A little challenging. Little fundamentals in there. If you can do last night's homework fully and understand it, you're in great shape. So now let's get started on today's work. And that involves starting with an old Regents exam question. Test scores for all 10 students are listed below. So we're doing this chapter now all about data. And one of the things we have to do is be able to fit data into given intervals. That's a really important skill for the histograms that we're going to talk about today. You know, the one where it shows the old people die. So I look at the scores of these 10 students, and I see 61, 67, 81, 83, 87, 88, 89, 90, 98, and 100. And then I look at the intervals, and they go 61 to 70, so on and so forth. So I look at, come on. I look at this and I notice that there are 2 scores that are in the 60s. So, okay, that's good. I like it. I like it. Oh, I like it. Great. They're all the same. Now I go and I notice there's nothing in the 70s up to 80. So, that can't be it. That can't be it. Oh, these 2 guys look pretty good. All right. Now, I'm going to count all the way up between 81 and 90. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this guy has a 6, that has an 8, so that can't be it. And then just to verify that it's right, I have 2 between 91 and 100, so choice 4 has to be the correct answer. Okay? Any question about that? Are we all right? All right. Well, you know, I buy these Claritin pills from Costco because they're really cheap compared to the real cost. And when you buy a container, it comes with about 350 of them or something. So they last pretty much a year. You take 1 a day. And I ran out yesterday. So I woke up this morning and I said, I know I'm going to get sinus headaches. It's the spring, everything's flowering, it's all in the air, and I don't have a Claritin in me to fight the effects of this. So here are 2 Tylenol, which I can only take Tylenol. Tylenol are terrible for you. And so here we go. Here's to fighting off a headache. All right. Now, did I mention yet today that there are 231 teaching days left in my career? It's a beautiful thing. All right. Yes, yes, yes. I'm very pumped for that. Now, to do histograms, you have to learn to do tallies. And I don't know if you remember, but Kristen, because her name is Rafferty, reminds me of this singer that my sons used to watch when he was little named Raffy. You ever hear of Raffy? He sings these children's songs. Baby beluga in the deep blue sea. You know what I'm talking about now? He's like an old guy who's bald. And that wasn't me,
Oh.
just so you know.
Well, I was singing.
But he used to sing one too, and it's a popular song. He didn't make it up. Most children's songs people don't make up. But it was, hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and me wanna
Oh,
go
I've heard
Oh
of
my
that.
god, we sang that
It was
in
like-
chorus in like 5th grade.
There you go. See, I could have been in your chorus group. Oh my God! Now,
I remember that.
yes, and it was also in the movie Beetlejuice. Right? Remember
Really?
with Michael Keaton, Beetlejuice?
Oh yeah, they started singing it at the table and they were all.
Yes, that's right, that's right. Hey, Mr. Tallyman, tally me banana. Daylight come and me wanna go home. So what would happen is people would climb these trees and they would take like a machete and they'd whack out these clumps of bananas and they'd bring it down the tree and they'd give it to the tallyman. And the tallyman would count the bananas and he'd get paid so much for every banana. Well, you're about to be the tallyman. What you're gonna do is tally this. Now I'm gonna do the first 5 of them right here, okay? 19 goes in this interval. 21 goes in this interval. 18 goes here. 23 goes here. 19 goes here. Now I like, after I use them, to cross them out, so I don't forget. Don't like scribble them, because then if you make a mistake and you have to go back, you won't be able to read it. Okay, so lightly cross it out. Keep going. Baby beluga, oh so wild, oh so free. All right, we're gonna can Raffy and cut right to Springsteen.
No.
The screen door slams,
No.
Mary's dress waves.
No.
Like a vision she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only.
Mr. Linquist, how many passes do I have left?
None. Now you're interrupting my singing here. I want you only, don't turn me home again. I just can't face myself alone again. Darling, don't run back inside, darling, you know just what I'm here for. So you're scared and you're thinking that maybe we ain't that young anymore. Show a little faith this man in the night. And this is a great classic pickup line. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're all right.
Oh my god! Wow!
Wait, my.
And that's all right with me. Doo-doo-doo. You can climb neath your covers and study your pain. Make crosses from your lovers, throw roses in the rain. Waste your summer praying in vain for a savior to rise from these streets. You guys now know why I was cut from a choir in church? I was cut from a church choir. It took me years of therapy.
I got cut.
That
All right.
was, that was hard.
14,
I was
22, 18, hike, 19. When you get to the 5th one, you go across.
Oh, right, that's how you tally.
20,
What?
25,
Tally. Me too.
23, 22, 20.
I gave up on that.
So now I've gone through
I'm not
here.
counting this.
17,
I did it.
34. This is not hard, guys. We could do this in 2nd grade.
What?
23. Oh no, that's the wrong spot. I'm an idiot. That one can't count there. Daily no mistake. That's right. 28. 9. 3.
Apple juice.
24.
Wilson calls me apple juice.
17.
Because AJ stands for apple juice.
All right, so that's all right. That I think that this is the mark that said that shouldn't have been this. So I'll leave that there now. And 25. Okay. So I think that this is right. Now this is what I like to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 23. Dali me banana. Now let me count here. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 5, 10, 15, 18, great, 22, 19. No, I'm
so
sorry.
confused.
1, 2, 3, 3, and 9 is 12, and 9 is 21, 22, 23. So I am right. That's how many's in each interval.
¿Qué?
Okay? In other words, what I do is I count the total number of scores and then I add up the total number of tallies. If the total number of scores matches the total number of tallies, I probably did it right. Sometimes you'll come up with, say, 23 scores and 22 tallies. That's a mess up. Now, when it comes to a histogram, guys, please keep that data in front of you because I'm going to need it. To draw a histogram, and this is no longer done, I haven't seen any of this on the state test, but just in case, we need to be able to do it here. Listen, on a histogram, frequency always goes on the left, and then on the bottom goes the score, or whatever you want to call it, 0, and then what did the intervals break down to? The first, 1 through 5? Okay, so we're going to make this 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Did it go past 30?
Yeah.
Yes.
To 35. Okay, good. And now, as far as the frequency goes, I'll do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and that's high enough. Now, what was the first interval? 1, right?
Yep.
So I make a little block for 1. Now, what was the next interval? 1 again. So I make a block for 1. Was it 1 again?
Yep.
And then was it another 1?
9.
No, now it was 9. So we're gonna go all the way up to 9, which is right, I think it's here. And then I go 9 again,
And then it's 1.
and then it's 1 and 1. So there's my histogram. A few things to note. Very important with a histogram. Is there any gap between the bars?
No.
No, that's extremely important. Okay? It's extremely important that it has score, frequency, and across the top it'll be labeled, what was this all about? What was this problem about? All right, whatever, let's call it tallies. You have to have a title on your histogram. Okay? Any other questions about that? All right, that's fundamental stuff. I've never seen them ask to do one of those on this region, but they used to on other types. Very quickly, here's a histogram for the ages in Kenya. All right? And again, what do you notice in this great and wonderful histogram? Old people die. That's exactly right. Okay? So tonight, listen, this was a Regents question before Common Core existed. This is from the old one. Same thing. Take the tally, take the frequency, draw a histogram, and then plus the other homeworks that are up there. Okay? Any questions? Very easy stuff today. All right, now where was I?
You're talking about.
Show a little faith, there's magic in the night. You ain't a beauty, but hey, you're alright. And that's alright with me. Da-na-na. You can hide neath your covers and study your pain. Make crosses from your roses in the rain.